현재 전 세계는 한식의 시대라고 해도 과언이 아닙니다. 지난해 국내 치킨집들은 코로나 특수를 누렸다고 할 만큼 매출이 증가했는데요. 해외에서도 한국식 치킨의 인기는 식을 줄을 모릅니다. 늘 음식은 사랑이며 훌륭한 요리사는 마음으로 요리합니다라고 말하는 덴마크계 미국인 셰프인 라세 소렌스는 미국 세인루이스에서 자신의 레스토랑을 운영하면서 방송에서 요리쇼를 진행하는데요. 소렌스는 고난과 불안의 코로나 시기에 제대로 된 음식은 그 어느 때보다 우리 모두를 하나로 연결해줍니다라고 말합니다. 그는 최근 미국에서 한국식 치킨과 김치로 성공한 김치가이즈의 오너셰프 서문석을 만나 김치와 한국식 치킨을 직접 만드는 법을 배우고 한국 문화를 배우는 시간을 가졌습니다.
But the story of the landing may have an unlikely revival, a savior in the form of Korean fried chicken.
If anything can revive this place, it's food, because food is love. That's what it's all about.
In the list of things Americans instinctively claim as being generally, well, American, fried chicken probably comes in just under apple pie and baseball. So to hear the phrase Korean fried chicken raises fundamental questions about what makes an American original into a Korean dish. That's where the kimchi guys comes into play. They serve a host of Korean options like Korean barbecue and obviously kimchi. One of the most popular items on the menu at Kimchi Guys is Korean fried chicken. This is my friend Munsuk So, a Korean immigrant, serial restaurateur, and owner of Kimchi Guys. He agreed to show me around, but first he has to brush me up on some basics of Korean culture.
Soju, we were talking about, you're supposed to pour me, right?
In Korea, nobody pours their own drink. You know, here you can pour your own drink, drink your own drink.
Yeah.
In Korean culture, you would always pour for the other.
So what if
person.
you're real thirsty and you can't wait for somebody?
Well, you know, you're going to be really thirsty.
Okay.
So I would pour this for you. It's a Korean spirit.
And it's an up-and-coming spirit, the biggest in the world now?
It's the #1 selling spirit by volume in the world.
Thank
Always
you.
first, and
Okay.
then you would pour this formula. You don't have to use two hands.
Okay.
But I would have to still use two hands.
Okay.
16 billion bottles are sold every year, and it's growing still.
Okay.
And it's probably the only spirit here in the United States that nobody knows about.
That's very interesting.
Yep. And then when we drink, I would, because you're older and I respect you, I would not drink in front of you. I would have to turn around and drink that. So you can drink
Really?
the same way.
Okay.
And so, you know, we would cheer, ganbei, and then I would drink this way.
And besides the great food, a big part of the value here is the culture aspect. Munsuk is a part of a growing trend in recent years of an influx of Asian Americans to the suburbs of St. Louis.
I remember being immigrated here in the 1980s. Korean cuisine was not even talked about. It just wasn't popular.
Yeah.
And kimchi was probably the stinkiest food in the Korean cuisine, you know?
Yeah.
And so not just something that you didn't talk about it, but it was something that you kind of avoided talking about,
Yeah.
you know? And so now kimchi is in every trending restaurant,
Yeah.
not just here in St. Louis. I think it is the culture that we live in now. People are more willing to try different things.
But you know, that's the great thing about being chefs, because we know that that's the connection between us, and how you bridge culture.
You know, there's over 50,000 Korean fried chicken shacks in South Korea right now, more than McDonald's worldwide. Trying to bring that level of popularity of Korean fried chicken into the Midwest market is what we were thinking
Yeah.
about. Popularity of Korean fried chicken really came about in the late 1970s.
And then it jumped back to the United States.
It's getting more popular in the East and West Coast
Yeah.
in the United States now, but we're definitely the first Korean fried chicken location here in St. Louis. The start of really, really good Korean fried chicken is the brining process.
We have water, sugar, Korean sea salt, and soy sauce.
And obviously is to tenderize the meat, partake flavor into the meat. We'll put the chicken into this brine, and literally it'll stay for 24 hours before we prep it up to fry. This part is a very important part of making sure that the chicken comes out very, very juicy
Yeah.
and crispy on the outside.
This is the secret right here. This
That's
is
right.
the crust.
This starch that gets combined with the flour makes the shatter kind of crisp. to the outside. Kind of a formulation that we've been working on probably in the last year and a half, 2 years. We fry it in 2 different temperatures. If you go to South Korea, they'll fry it in an open fryer at one temperature, take it out, rest it for about a minute or so, and then they'll put it into a different temperature and really at a higher temperature to crisp up the skin of the outside. It's trying to get the right temperature and cooking time so that you're not overcooking the meat, as well as trying to crisp up the outside. And that's really the technique and the science behind Korean fried chicken.
So with the second coating is where we're going to use the gochujang, right?
The sauce.
And that gives it spice.
That gives it the spice, the flavor, all of those things.
And I mean, obviously the kimchi is a big part of the story here too. I think a lot of people are hesitant to try kimchi. It's all like, well, it doesn't smell good or it's strong. But it's really good. What does it mean, kimchi?
Kimchi is the fermentation or pickling of vegetables. The idea of making kimchi was to preserve food for a longer period of time.
Yeah, I'm Scandinavian. We do sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut is your kimchi.
So in Korean culture, I heard that you have in the fall you do like a kimchi party where you try to make kimchi for the whole year, right?
That's called kimjang. It happens once a year. It's an international festival where everybody kind of gets together and they make this kimjang or kimchi that'll last for the entire year. Obviously, when you first make kimchi, it's very fresh, and then every day it starts to turn, and ferment.
When can you say, okay, now I'm ready to eat it? 3 or 4 days, a week?
You can pretty much make this right when the brine cabbage is done and eat it immediately, or you can eat it a year and a half later, and that's the variation, and all that spectrum. You'll have a different taste of that kimchi. So we're gonna quarter these, take the core out, and we're gonna start putting the Korean salt on them.
Okay.
And it's really to kind of break down the cabbage a little bit and trying to put the salt into the vegetable. And once you salt these and put them into the container, it'll continue to release water and it'll create a kind of a salt brine, liquid brine in here. Most important part about the brining process is to make sure that it's evenly brining throughout the cabbage. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
Have you made kimchi before?
No.
Huh?
No.
You're an expert already.
This is the ingredients that goes in the marinade. That's a lot of ingredients.
It is a lot of ingredients that goes into making kimchi. We got the sugar, garlic, green onions, that's Korean radish, the Korean red pepper, the garlic chives, ginger, shrimp paste, as well as onions, garlic powders, fish sauce, and that's a sweet rice flour that's been reduced. And we'll put that all into a bowl and we'll mix that together in preparation for the brine cabbage. We'll mix that together. That's really the final step of making kimchi. It's almost kind of like painting. You're stroking the paste onto each leaf, put the paste leaf by leaf, and get it all together. Put it into the container here. We're going to put the special lid, which will suck all of the air out, and we'll put it into a refrigerator, and we'll let it sit there for a while.
Now that I know the secrets of making kimchi and Korean fried chicken, I'm eager to try some of the food at Kimchi Guys myself, and the menu here is nothing short of impressive.
Wow, look at this spread. There is so much good stuff here. Let's start with this one here.
These are 4 kimchi that we offer here. Obviously, that's the Napa cabbage kimchi. This is the spicy radish kimchi. This is the white radish kimchi that is normally served with Korean fried chicken. It's kind of our version of coleslaw. And it's kind of a mild pickle that goes along well with the Korean fried chicken. And this is our cucumber kimchi that we use on multiple different things. And this is kind of our version of our Korean fried chicken. And this is our original sauce, but we also have 3 other sauces that accompany this Korean fried chicken. The real KFC.
The real KFC.
That's right.
Let's try it.
Okay.
Wow. That is delicious. I'm hooked.
미국에 진출하면서 현지화된 중국 음식이나 일식과 달리 한식은 기본이 되는 조리법과 본연의 맛을 유지해왔기에 이렇게 사랑받는 것이며 앞으로도 오랫동안 이어져 나갈 것입니다. 여러분의 소중한 의견을 남겨주세요. 바쁘시더라도 구독과 좋아요 부탁드립니다. 지금까지 단골이시였습니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다.